And let's go straight across to the top story. A striking address to the US Congress, a rousing bipartisan round of applause, and an extravagant state dinner at the White House. Filled with banter, there was chemistry and camaraderie. The last 24 hours have been magical for brand India and for the man of the moment, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'm not the one saying this, the Western media is saying this. Just have a look at the kind of headlines that they've been carrying. The New York Times is wondering, why is Prime Minister Modi so popular? The Washington Post is talking about how the Prime Minister's visit sends out a big message to China. And The Guardian is calling India a linchpin to American interests. Those are just some of the samples. And they have every reason to say that because this visit so far has been rapturous to say the least. You know, it's highlighted the kind of popularity that Prime Minister Modi enjoys, not just within the Indian diaspora, but also among America's own lawmakers. And this is the focus of our top story tonight. Let me start off with Prime Minister Modi's address to the US Congress. It was a testament to India's growing significance in geopolitics. The speech lasted for about 1 hour, slightly longer than the last address, which was about 45 minutes. This was back in 2016. The Prime Minister spoke on a series of themes, ranging from the Ukraine war to terrorism, women's empowerment, also environmental concerns, and India's democratic values. Let's just take this one at a time. The Prime Minister started off his address by reaching out to the Indian-American diaspora and also conveying to America's political leaders the value that they bring to American democracy, including America's Vice President herself, Kamala Harris, who happens to be of Indian origin. He also added that Samosa Caucus is now the flavor of the House, upon which all the attendees broke into a round of applause. You have to watch this.
There are millions here who have roots in India. Some of them sit proudly in this chamber. And there is one behind me who has made history. I'm told that the Samosa Caucus is now the flavor of the House. I hope it grows and brings the full diversity of Indian cuisine here.
And next, the Prime Minister spoke about politics and polarization. He said, while there could be differences within the country, but when it comes to speaking about the nation, we must all speak in one voice.
I'm delighted to see you come together today to celebrate the bond between world's two great democracies, India and the United States. There will be and there must be a contest of ideas at home. But we must also come together as one when we speak for our nation.
And the Indian Prime Minister also dwelt on the values of democracy, something which has been making headlines of late. And responding to critics, the Prime Minister said that democracy is a sacred and shared value for both the US and India. He also said it is the spirit that supports equality and dignity. And in the evolution of the democratic spirit, India happens to be the mother of democracy. Listen in.
One thing has been clear. Democracy is the spirit that supports equality and dignity. Democracy is the idea that welcomes debate and discourse. Democracy is the culture that gives wings to thought and expression. India is blessed to have such values from times immemorial. In the evolution of the democratic spirit, India is the mother of democracy.
And next, the Prime Minister took an indirect aim at China. Without taking any names, he said that dark clouds of coercion and confrontation are casting their shadow in the Indo-Pacific region. And the stability of the region has become one of the central concerns of the India-US partnership.
Our clouds of coercion and confrontation are casting their shadow in the Indo-Pacific. The stability of the region has become one of the central concerns of our partnership. We share a vision of a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific, connected by secure seas, defined by international law, free from domination, and anchored in ASEAN centrality.
And lastly, the Prime Minister spoke about terrorism. He said that there can be no ifs or buts while dealing with terrorism. And in a veiled attack on Pakistan, he sought action against the state sponsors of terrorism.
Terrorism is an enemy of humanity, and there can be no ifs and buts in dealing with it. We must overcome all such forces sponsoring and exporting terror.
Now, these were the 5 big takeaways. Besides this, the Prime Minister also spoke in detail about 75 years of India's independence, India's diversity and respect for all faiths, the scale and magnitude of the Indian economy, and also empowering women to transform the country. Also, the importance of dialogue during conflicts. All of these points evoked multiple standing ovations, applauses, cheers from the American lawmakers. And as the Prime Minister concluded his speech and started walking out to exit the chamber, he was approached by several lawmakers. They were shaking his hand, congratulating him, and getting his autograph on special copies of his speech. Those copies were circulated to the attendees, by the way. It was truly a sight to behold, one that will remain deeply etched in the minds of every Indian. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.